Today we're going to be brewing a porter. I've got myself a nice little recipe here. I'm going to be using Muntons extra light plain malt extract, and the reason for that is because Muntons is uses British grown barley to make their extract. So porters are, London porters are more of a British beer than anything else. So anyways, we're using the plain light malt extract to get our fermentables for the most part, and all of our flavor is going to come from our specialty grains. And I've got everything already mixed here in this little bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you know what's in here, and you'll be able to see it during the video. We've got Crystal Malt 40 Lovibond. So Crystal 40 and 60, they have most of the caramel, the true caramel flavor, and I went with 40, just to keep it more sweet. It's more like a toffee-like sweetness as opposed to 60 and above, which starts to get a little bit more burnt and darker. So that's why I chose 40. Chocolate malt, went with UK chocolate malt, and I believe it was a 350 Lovibond, but I want to say it's a little bit darker than that actually. And that was 8 ounces of that. And then we have a little bit of Munich malt, about 3 ounces, just to give a little bit of a nutty flavor to the beer. It should give it a nice touch. And then roasted barley, I'm adding about 1 ounce of roasted barley for color adjustment more than anything else. So that's pretty much what we have as far as malts, specialty grains, and the light malt extract. Now we're going to be fermenting this beer using Burton Ale Yeast, which is the White Labs WLP023. Haven't really brewed with this yeast, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. So we're going to give it a try. Obviously my tube is empty. I did my starter yesterday, but there's that. And then we're going to be using Cascade hops, 7.5 alpha acids, a full ounce for bittering. And then we're going to be using some Willamette 5% AAUs. And these are going to be our aroma hops. We're going to be adding these at 15 minutes, Cascade 60 minutes. So that's pretty much it for the recipe. Let's go ahead and get started. So our very first step is going to be to take our grains and we're going to steep them in 1.25 gallons of water for 30 minutes at 154 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, while we're steeping the grains, since we're going to be using only 5 pounds and 9 ounces, I'm going to take one of these bags and I'm going to remove 7 ounces. That way I get my 5 pounds and 9 ounces, and I'm going to use my scale. It's very handy to use one of these scales when you're trying to get some accurate measurements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Ziploc bag. That way I can store my dry malt extract and use this for a starter somewhere down the road. Nice thing about storing something in a bag like this is it can actually last for quite a few months, about 6 months I would say, before you do anything with it. So this way, whenever I'm about to add on my DME, I don't have to worry about it, and I can just go ahead and move on. We've been steeping for about 30 minutes, actually it's been about 27, and we're about to be over with. So usually what I like to do right before the 30 minutes is take a little taste. Gives you a good idea of what the beer is going to taste, and if you've done a good job at extracting the sugars from your grains. And since it tastes pretty good, we are ready to move on to the next step. So I've got water in here. We're going to start heating that up, and we're going to use about 1 quart of water to rinse off the grains, and then we're going to add our dry malt extract and bring it to a boil. All right, so first thing we're going to do is remove all this from the heat so it doesn't keep on heating up. We're going to take our water and bring that down here. want to just rinse this off. Get as much of the sugars off of the grain bag. You don't need to wait until it looks clear. It will just look dark pretty much all the way around. So just use about a cup of water per bag. I like to use a quart, so that's about 2 cups of water per bag, and that should be more than enough. Okay, once we're done rinsing off the grains, we're just going to remove all this. And our next step is going to be to add our DME and top this off with water, make about a 4-gallon boil, and we'll be ready to go. Remember, we had about a gallon and a quart in here, so we only need about 2.5 gallons to make up a full 4-gallon boil. This thing started to boil over on me. It thankfully didn't happen. Whenever you see this start to rise, fastest or the easiest thing to do to prevent a boil over is to just remove the pot from the heat. Lift it up if possible, but just removing it from the heat will keep it from boiling over. So now that this has come to a boil, we're going to let it stabilize just a little bit, and we're going to start adding our hops. We're going to add a full ounce of Cascade hops and boil it for 60 minutes, and then we're going to be adding our flavor / aroma hops at 15 minutes left in the boil, and that's going to be half an ounce of Willamette hops. For now, want to make sure that you push all this foam aside, because that's really what's causing the wort to boil over. So as long as you get some of the wort visible, that usually keeps this from boiling over. You see how it's stabilizing, and now it's more of a slow rolling boil. It's not big bubbles just bouncing everywhere. That's more or less what you want. So make sure that you don't get any of those big bubbles that, those that are coming out right now. So control your temperature before you start adding hops and all that, because usually when you add hops, it tends to really activate the wort, and that can cause some boilovers as well. While this is still boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start preparing my 15-minute hops, and it's pretty simple. We've got half an ounce, and these are 1 ounce packets. So you can do this either 2 ways. One, if you have a little scale where you can measure, then you can just simply pour in here the half an ounce, or you can also just take all your hops, put them in a plate or something, and just divide them in half, and that will give you right about the measurement. So if you don't have a scale, you can do it that way. Otherwise, this is just a little bit more accurate. There we go. Got ourselves half an ounce here, and now we just gotta wait till we got 15 minutes left in our boil, and we'll just add these in. After that, cool the wort, pitch our yeast, and we're done for the day. All right, we have 15 minutes left in the boil, so we're gonna go ahead and add our flavor and aroma hops. That's it. Stir that a little bit. Make sure we still have a good rolling boil. And now we're just gonna wait. Bam. All right, 60 minutes have gone by. Now we just gotta move this, cool it, put it in our ice bath. Be careful not to trip over. This can be pretty hot, and this is kind of heavy. Place it in here, and then add as much ice as you can.
I feel like I could drink this all night, as opposed to, like, again, as you feel one, I'm full. I don't want any more of that. This is good.
Cool.
I'm actually drinking it. That says something. It's not overly hoppy.
Not overly hoppy.
Not overly hoppy. I like it.
I've noticed that this one has more foam than the other one. It's a little more carbonated.
That's how I've got it.
The brown ale I undercarbonated a little bit. This one it has a little bit more, so I don't know if you, not just the foam, but you can also sometimes feel it, like when you drink it's a little spritzy, or at least it brings out a little bit more aroma. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.